Oh, if you could record it, we would so love it.
Okay. Okay.
I think
So,
that at least one other person is going to join us.
oh, okay. All right. So we're going to hang out for a bit
So
to wait around. But so tell me who you are. This is Richard, I'm assuming.
Yes, this is Richard Riley.
Okay.
Do you want me to? I'll wait until the others come on so I can get my
Oh.
whole vita.
Oh, okay. Okay. I'm fine
how
with
much
anything.
time, Jeanette, do you have? An hour
No,
or 45
yeah.
minutes? Or...
No, I'm good. An hour is
Okay,
good.
okay. Okay, great. Okay, because I tend to be sort of windy.
Oh, I missed that. I'm sure you said chatty though.
Chatty, yes.
Okay. How is your book coming? How is your book coming?
It has really been a challenge because in the midst of COVID, one cannot get into the libraries or the museums. So I had to make appointments like with the Hillsborough Historical. They have a great genealogy library and Germany. But I had to make appointments, and usually they kind of just let me have the run of the place, but no, it was they've taken all the seating out.
Oh, wow.
And the Tampa Bay History Center, the same thing. So it's a challenge, but it is written now and it's at the publisher. And thank you so much for the photo, because I wanted to include a chapter on the arts. And I kind of started the chapter with the pianist at the Columbia restaurant. You probably know her. She's quite well known. And then I kind of wanted to make sure I just captured some samples of artists and
I see.
musicians and that kind of thing. And
I see. Oh, okay.
But anyhow, it is.
But it's a great idea. The book. It's a great idea.
At the end was we did some re-editing, and I guess just everything that's been happening in life the last couple of years, they wanted me to take 10 pages out, and I just said no. So they extended it 10 pages.
Oh, really so they had a limit. Right.
So it should be out in January. So.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, that's really good. How long have you been working on it?
Probably about a year, but
only a year.
It's not an extensive research project, but it's just a
okay. Oh, okay.
But I'm so delighted to meet you, Jeanette, because when I was working on the Dade City book, I had this whole list of people that said Jeanette Thompson has to be included. So, and if you remember, we had difficulty connecting.
Yeah, we did.
Can anybody hear me?
We can hear you, but we can't see you.
That seems to be a problem here. I'm going to try changing the camera here.
Or just go back to your wife's computer. It's okay.
It powered off. It can't be something. Yeah, it's too hot when it tries to do the camera. I don't know. It's something. So I appreciate your patience here.
Did you see that video thing to the bottom? Is it clicked? You see, look at the bottom of your screen.
Right now I'm on my telephone. That's why it's. But I'm trying to turn on my. Right. Do I show it at all?
No.
Okay. So then let's go back to.
You're on the phone, but there should be a little button either in the corner. Look in the corner, and if there's a red
corners.
Okay.
Yes, I agree with you.
You see that video, the little video icon? Do you see that? It's a video icon.
I'm clicking on my. All it says your microphone is unmuted. Richard Riley is speaking. Leave.
Okay.
There is no other
Video
side here. I would
icon.
be glad to just talk if that's acceptable to you people.
I mean, it's fine with me. It's nicer to see your face, but you know, it's okay.
Well,
Whatever you
I'm
can
rather
do.
frightened with my, I haven't had a haircut since COVID, so I am slightly frightened.
I think the whole world will understand that, Richard.
Janine, let me Jeanette, excuse me, to give you a real quick beat up because now we're on, so at least we might as well start doing something here. I am not a music person. I have no music skills whatsoever, but my claim to fame, because I heard that you were an opera singer, is that I used to work when I was in college at the Santa Fe Opera.
Oh my goodness.
I even met Igor Stravinsky. I met Igor Stravinsky, and that was my highlight of my life, I think.
Oh my God. That's amazing.
So, and I've also been in community theater, and I support our local youth theater here in the area. So I have a little bit of theater background. I have absolutely no music background. I've been reading up on you and your roles in Aida and all these other things, and say, oh yes, I know, I've been to operas, but my level of opera is mostly Die Fledermaus, operetta, comic.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's kind of cool. It's so cool that you met Stravinsky. That must have been what, late 60s, early 70s?
It was 1962, 63. It was 63.
Yeah.
You're right. You've got your timeline down very well.
Yeah, well, Stravinsky was a big deal when he came over here. Yeah. Oh, that is so cool.
He's being modest, Jeanette, because he is like the Zephyr Hills community volunteer with the Chamber of Commerce and the mayor and just all of the different agencies, and he does extraordinary photo shoots. And I was just kind of thinking about different people because I'll be on the interview, but he really knows the Zephyr Hills, or I mean the Dade City community.
I was going to correct you there. I do live in the Dade City Trilby area, and I have been looking up Jeanette and going to Moore-Micken. There's your claim to fame, ma'am. Of course, I was there last week, but it's not the same anymore.
Yeah. No, what I'm trying to do is sign in on my phone to see if I can help you put your video up. Yeah, I'm signing in on my phone at the moment. Oh God, wait a minute.
Okay, I'm still speaking. You probably muted your, probably because you're too close to the TV. Can you still hear me?
I can hear you, Richard.
Okay, it says my microphone is unmuted. Now it's unmuted again, and my video is stopped, and there's no option on video. I can see Madonna, and and there's Jeanette, and then this little that's round circle and a blob, that's Richard Riley. At least I'm not Kathy anymore. At least I'm not Kathy anymore. Okay, Madonna, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you great.
Oh, okay, I can see you.
Yeah.
And Jeanette, I can see you. And am I supposed to be talking?
Okay. Let's see if this will work. Oh shoot! I have to come out in order to be understood. Oh my God! This is gonna...
You have an infinite feedback loop. You are probably going through on a time warp.
Richard, if
Yes,
you look
hello
at your
there.
phone, look at your phone, and to the
Yes.
top of your phone, do a pull down. Just swipe down, and a video will show up.
Nope,
Just
I don't
swipe
get
down
that.
on your phone
I'm
from the top of your phone down.
not getting that either. I'm on an Android, and I do have you. And if I go over, nope, now I see Madonna and you. But that's
Okay,
okay. Let's just talk. No wasting your time.
okay. No, I'm on an Android too, is the thing. And when I was on there, I found the video icon, but it doesn't show up by itself. You have to swipe from the top down, if you can
Okay,
see me.
all right. I got all right. I
Go to
did that.
your page, to
Yeah,
where you are, and
I
then
got a
just,
microphone. I've got a Bluetooth, and I've got there's no devices.
no,
Devices.
no, that's your
No,
phone
you're right.
stuff.
I'm going too deep into this thing. Um,
Right.
but I did
Oh,
swipe down, so I got that thing, and it's got the date, and it's got all my notices and everything. It has no other thing. I'm going straight, popping back up. No,
okay. Well, I
thank
found
you
it
for.
when I did that, but it's okay. It's okay. All right, we'll just get started.
Can you share the screen with me for a minute, Jeanette? Because I
Oh,
have some
sure.
photos. I wanted to just start out reflecting.
Okay.
By way of introduction for me, I'm a retired educator. In fact, Greta Adams, who I know you know well, was my principal.
Oh,
She was my principal coach. They thought she's the only one that could make a difference with me. But I believe it was Jeanette and Martha Walker who both shared, their, I guess,
oh,
joys in your life. And then
oh
Dr.
my goodness.
Mary Giella was my boss for many, many years.
Okay, okay. Yes, I know all these people.
Oh,
I've
extraordinary.
given you
Okay,
sharing.
got it. Okay, how do I now? Okay, I just wanted to share with you if I can find the thing here. I put together a few pictures that I found, and I thought you might want to just reflect on them. No, I don't want to leave the meeting, do I? Okay. Gosh, we are really good at technology here, aren't we? Wait a minute. Okay, it wants me to leave the meeting, but I was trying to find the file.
No, just minimize it, minimalize it. You see the little, yeah, the hash. It's all right. That's fine.
Jeanette, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. While she's coming up with that part, I'm just going to ask one of my questions. I read the Tampa Bay Times article on you, and it was very good article, very positive and everything. You grew up not with opera. You grew up with gospel. Where? St. Paul's, St. John's?
I think there's a little bit of, okay, St. John's. We'll just say St. John's, but oh my God.
Oh, because you can see it now? Can you see it now, Jeanette?
Yes. Oh
Okay,
my
I'm sorry. Okay.
God.
I just put together a little montage of pictures. You were the most talented graduate. Now, is that surprising? In
No.
1974.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Oh my God.
I know it's not surprising that you were the president of
Love the
the
afro. Love the
Future
afro.
Business Leaders.
And let's see, what is this? Oh, wait. Oh, this is FBLA. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I was state president of FBLA.
You were
Yeah.
state president. My
Yeah, it was a
goodness.
10,000 member group.
That is
And
significant, Jeanette. Oh my goodness.
yeah, and there's an interesting little story that goes with that because
Okay.
normally only people from big schools would ever win state president. But I
Absolutely.
had but I had entered the talent portion my sophomore I think, yeah, my sophomore and junior year, and I wanted to run for president. And so I went in to talk first with Mrs. Harrell and Mrs. Pryor. No, Mrs. Pryor and Mrs. Adams.
Joan
And
Pryor. Yes, Joan Pryor.
right,
She was the state president of the Garden Club later
okay,
on, and the only
yeah.
one from Dade City. Isn't that interesting? She was a
Well,
phenomenal lady.
yeah, but
I'm
this,
sorry,
this
didn't
is a
mean to.
really interesting story. That's okay. So I was 16 and they tried to talk me out of wanting to run for president because they said they normally choose big schools. And I'm sure they were thinking this, but no one said it. But they were probably thinking, they're not going to choose a little black girl from a little town, but no one said that. So anyway, they tried to talk me out of it, but they didn't like force themselves. They just said, you really need to think about this. Don't you want to run for like treasurer or secretary? And I said, no, I want to run for president. So anyway, I left their office and I remember I was walking around that corridor at the old high school and I thought, gosh, maybe they're right. And Mrs. Gilbert came out and she caught me as I was walking down that hall and she said, I heard your conversation. She said, if you want to run for president, you run for president. And I don't care who's trying to discourage you, run for president. And I thought, okay. So I went back to Mrs. Adams and I said, no, I want to run for president. And she said, okay. So once my mind was made up, they were behind me 100%, but they did try to talk me out of running in the beginning. And they were just, all behind me. And then when we got to the state conference, there was delegates from each school. And I remember there was this guy from Lakeland who was a jock kind of guy. He was tall and sort of, I guess some people thought he was beautiful. Anyway, there were about six of us on the ballot for president. And I remember the night before voting, he came to my room and he said, look, he said, with all these people on the ballot, we're just going to tie up all of this time. He said, why don't you withdraw? And then I'll make sure that you get something once I'm president. That's what he said. And I remember I stood there and looked at him and I didn't say a word. And when he finished, I said, okay, I'd like for you to leave now. And he did. And the next day, we all made our speeches. And I don't remember the exact number, but let's say there was 512 delegates. I think I got like 495 votes, and he got 10 or something. And anyway, that just brought all of that back, the FBLA, and I was state president. And then of all the states' presidents, so we had all of these conferences where the presidents of each state would meet. The national director of FBLA Phi Beta Lambda invited two of us to go to Washington to defend a bill. And I was one of the two. And I still have the congressional records here, where I went to Washington.
Phenomenal.
Yeah, it was really something.
That was really great training, though, wasn't it, Jeanette?
Yeah.
I mean, that really,
there is, and the amazing thing is that here I am in my 60s and I still teach the things that I learned from that organization, the discipline that I learned, the healthy competitiveness that I learned from being there, and the pride to take in your job, no matter what your job is, you take pride in it. And this is what FBLA really was all about. And I still teach that way. I do. And I call myself an old school teacher with an open mind, but I am definitely old school. There's no emailing me your papers. No, I need a paper in my hand. I have rules, you follow the rules or you fail, period. But I'm also very loving to my students because I believe in encouraging them and helping them discover their own potential. And I'm telling you, I would not have that had I not had that with these teachers in Dade City. And I mean that, and Florida State, but really it was Dade City that those teachers were phenomenal. They just were. You know, when I went to Washington, I remember that Mrs. Fingerhut was the home economics teacher, and and Mrs. Mickens was the home economics teacher. And they got together and they made me these clothes. No, that was when I was going to music camp. When I was going to Washington, I can't remember the name of the department store right on Main Street.
Williams or?
No, it was right downtown, right at. Can you remember?
What was the name of that? Oh goodness.
Well, whatever the name of that town was.
It was great. What was the name of that? I want to say.
No, not like Kiefer's. It wasn't Kiefer's at that time, but whoever it was, I remember in the paper, I think I still have that article. It said JT goes to Congress. And the owner of that department store called me up at home and said that I may come and choose 3 outfits to take to Washington. But this is how much the town was behind me. And it was really pretty phenomenal when you think about it.
That's extraordinary.
Look at that. Look at your homemakers. Oh my God.
I just love to do history. I was just taken aback by your the 1974 yearbook when you really were in leadership roles at all kinds of capacities at that school. I think most of the rest of the pictures are all ones that I snagged from your, from you.
Oh, that is so great. Oh,
I'll send it to you if you'd like. But I thought it might be helpful if we just had some photos kind of. And then, like Richard said, I think both of us looked for some newspaper articles.
Oh my God, I remember this concert.
This article right there is the one that I got was the most valuable to me.
Oh my God.
That was when they opened this Performing Arts Center.
That's right. I opened that Performing Arts Center in Newport Richie, I think it was. Is that where this is?
We've got a new one that's opening up in Land O'Lakes. They're trying to make it a magnet school it is a magnet school. And it's a part of a big complex, and it's beautiful.
Oh my God, I don't have a copy of that article.
Well, I'll send these to you.
Wow.
Here's another one.
I have a copy of the review after the concert, but not that concert. But you know what I remember the most, and I think I said it that night at the concert. First of all, they went crazy in that concert hall, and it was so wonderful. And I remember I stepped out and I said, I have waited a lifetime to feel the way you're making me feel tonight. I remember that. It was so amazing.
I want to throw something back at you real fast. Growing up here, you knew all the buildings. You remember the auditorium for what is now the middle school, but used to be the high school?
Yeah.
It's still there, and it's still used by youth theater groups. They've been doing Peter Pan with flying actors. They've been doing musicals. Now the musicals are all youth versions
Oh
They
my
have
goodness.
K through 12. They have they have a wonderful job doing Annie and things like that. But they're going to do Sound of Music in a month.
Oh wow.
And we are
That is so amazing.
so lucky to have that great big auditorium. They rebuilt
Yeah.
the entire school, but they left the auditorium alone. We are so lucky.
They also
Wow.
have, and Richard knows more about this than I do, but they have the Dade City Orchestra that started.
There's a Dade City Orchestra?
Yes, there
No,
is.
is it incredible?
It's a full orchestra, something like 60 people, and they're mostly retirees and alternative employment where they'll come and they'll practice. The practice is always at night, and they do the performance on a Friday night and everything. It's
Wow.
all unpaid, all volunteer, and it's beautiful. And they do, I think three. Well, recently it changed, but they used to do 2 or 3 a year, and it's always free.
My goodness
They're
gracious.
very nice. I think a couple of the musicians, wasn't it the conductor that recently passed away? Richard, I'm trying to think.
Oh.
I think he was,
I don't remember the name, but yes, you're right.
yeah, he was, I think, pretty well known. I know. But it's a really nice, they have a nice Christmas concert, and
Oh, that is so nice.
there are, I suspect there are, some folks that were in the high school band. I don't know. There's like a range of people.
Yeah.
Obviously, there are
It is a
retired.
full range, and there are some virtuosos in there, and they have guest soloists for singing and everything. They'll do Handel's Messiah, parts of it in Christmas and things like that. It's really a institution, and it's sold out, which means that standing room only. There's no card.
Wow.
It's SRO on every performance because it's free,
Wow.
and we have a lot of old people that love to come and listen to a symphony.
That is so great. That
And I
is
mean, it's a
just
fairly
fantastic.
recent phenomenon. I mean, the last 4
Yeah.
or 5 years, I'm not exactly sure the time frame, but I thought, oh my goodness, because we haven't had things like that in East Pasco.
It's nice.
I-
Let me ask you real quick, back on our regular subject, which is you. Are you planning to move back to Dade City in your retirement or something? Are you sold on Miami?
Well,
When do you come back and do something that I can attend?
well, I mean, I just got this job. I'm starting my 4th year here, so, and I love this job. I love being able to help young singers realize their potential. So, you know, if I had a job in Lakeland, I'm sure I would have come there, but instead Miami offered me a job, so here I am. But
Sounds like the dream that you want. Of course, you want to do something like it. Well, I'll say in 20 years you plan to come back to Dade City. Again, that's our topic. You're a star from Dade City.
well, the thing is that I'm listening to you talk about all this music, and I'm thinking to myself, it is nothing short of amazing that I even wanted, and I was so determined to do classical music. I was determined to do it. Yet
Tell
I had
us
no
about that,
example.
Jeanette. Yeah,
I
tell
had
us
no
about that.
examples. I know but that's it was making me think of all of this. I think it all, I remember being a little girl and I just saw this article. First of all, I haven't even seen this article that you have up before me. I've never seen this article, but where my mother says she doesn't know where I got it from, and I'm sure, yeah, but my mother didn't know. She didn't know where I got it from. I remember being a little girl, and we were supposed to go to bed at a certain time, and I would sneak out to watch shows past my bedtime. And I remember Arthur Rubinstein came on TV to play the piano. And he used to sit down and flip his tails out over the piano stool.
Yes,
And
yes.
I thought that was the most fascinating thing I'd ever seen. And so then I would love to hear him play. Then Roberta Peters would come on the Late Show sometime. And I was just fascinated by how she could make those sounds. And so for me, I remember thinking as a little girl that why can't I be anything in this world that I want to be? Why should I have a limitation? Now, I didn't know how unusual that was, but that was really quite unusual that as a little girl, I'm talking about like 7 or 8 years old, I started thinking that way. I thought, I don't want to be here my whole life. I want to see the world. And I remember when I was 12, Amy Roach was my teacher. How do I remember these names? Anyway, Amy Roach was my teacher, and she asked us all to write down where we would like to someday go to college. And everybody wrote down schools like FAMU, Bethune-Cookman. They wrote down what they knew because we're in the 6th grade. So you only know what you know. And when she got to me, I wrote down the University of Moscow.
I thought you were going to say Juilliard. I thought you were going to say Juilliard.
No, I put the University of Moscow. And I remember her face and she said, Jeanette, the University of Moscow? And I said, but look at these pictures. The pictures were so beautiful in this book. And she said, well, there's a few reasons why you might have a little trouble getting into the University of Moscow. A, you need to speak Russian in order to Anyway, and she said, tell me, why did you choose it? I said, because it was the farthest place away from Dade City that I could think of. Isn't that funny? But anyway, and then
it's interesting. It's interesting that you had that kind of that passion at such a young age. That's really interesting.
I know. But, so first we had all of these civil rights acts that were passed. There was one in 1964, 68, yes. And then in 71, that was when it was the forced integration one was passed,
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
1971. Okay, so I'm in the 9th grade in 1971. And what they did was so at that time, it was to be one high school, one junior high school, one middle school, one elementary school. That was the mandate in 1971. And so clearly they didn't have enough space for everyone. So they bussed all these people in from these nearby towns, and there was not enough space. And I remember it was the first day of classes, and they put us all in the auditorium at the junior high school. They packed us all in there. And tempers were flying, and I was sitting in the middle of all these people because it was all the little black children and all the white children, and everybody was fussing and fighting. Not physically fighting, but their tempers were raging. And I sat there and I thought, it's going to be a riot. There's going to be a riot. And the teachers had left the auditorium, which they shouldn't have done, but I'm sure they didn't want to be a part of it because these were all these little kids. The white kids didn't want us there. The black kids didn't want to be there. So everyone was unhappy, and they put us all in this room. And I remember I sat there in the middle of all this chaos, and I thought, I have to do something. I don't know what to do, but I have to do something. And then I saw the piano, and I went up on stage, and I started playing the piano and singing. And then I got everybody singing. And I remember we were singing Hey Jude and a bunch of the Beatles stuff. And then we sang Oh Happy Day. And everybody was singing. And then I remember the teachers came in and saw what was going on. And the principal was Rayfuse.
Yes, Ralph Refuse.
How do I remember that? Ralph Rayfuse, he came in, and I remember he said, wow, that I've never seen anything like it, because the whole auditorium became harmonious through music, through the singing. Yeah. Anyway, I don't know what made me
It
tell
seems
you
to
that
me,
story.
Jeanette, you had a instinctive leadership skills. You didn't have fear. You
No.
really, that's amazing. I think that must have translated into the opera too, because that
Oh,
performance, that persona has
oh,
to have had.
I mean, who packs up at 49 years of age and moves to a new country that you can't even speak to people to teach? At 49, I packed up and moved to Turkey for 8 years, learned the language while I was there, taught in the conservatory because no one spoke English. But that is that kind of, I knew no fear. I literally knew no fear. And I think you're just kind of born with it, you know. You 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 hear players like, I don't know if you know who this is. There's a violinist named Midori, and I remember hearing her play when she was 13, and she played with such depth that it reduced me to tears. And I remember leaving the hall and saying to my friends, if you never believed in reincarnation, you must believe it when you hear her play. Because how can a 13-year-old have this kind of depth to perform like that? It takes years of life to be able to perform like that, but she could do it. And so I think that I must have been a little bit like that. Like I was not really from this world for quite a while because I knew no fear. I would try anything. I would go anywhere. I have lived in 4 different countries. I have sung all over the world, but you have to be fearless to do that, you know? Anyway.
How many languages do you speak? With opera, you have to have a whole lot of a language skill. What do you do?
Yeah, I speak 5 languages. I speak Italian, French, German, Turkish, and English.
Now, Turkish would be the outlier in that, would it not?
Yes, it would be.
But you were there for 8 years.
8 years. 8 years living there. Yeah.
Well,
I mean, but there's so many pockets of my life that have so many stories. I mean, I studied and assist teaching in Japan. I studied in Austria. I studied in Michigan. Of course, I went to undergrad at Florida State, and I went to graduate school at Rice in Texas. But it's the world experience that landed me this job here, as well as jobs everywhere else. You know, it's those.
Jeanette, tell us about the places you've
what students do
performed.
you have? What students do you have? What is your job? Is it specifically for grad students or entry level or whatever? I saw one YouTube where you are helping somebody with I even wrote it down here. Come rain and come shine.
Oh my God! And that was in Turkey. That's a Turkish student.
Wow.
That was a Turkish student who wanted to learn that song. Oh my God, I don't even know half the stuff that's out there. But
But where, Jeanette, could you tell us about some of the places you've performed? I know one it was at Carnegie Hall very early
yeah,
on.
yeah, I did. That was fantastic.
It was a double bill, you and Marian Anderson.
Marian Anderson, I did meet her. Yeah, she was truly an icon, Marian Anderson.
Wow.
I don't know what to like. see, all the major opera houses you would have heard of. Although La Fenice in Venice, I did sing there. But I can tell you the cities, and generally in the cities, I sang in the opera houses in these cities, like Sardinia, um, all over Italy, in Sicily, Belgium, Luxembourg, London, Germany. I lived in Germany for a year. Um,
Barcelona?
Barcelona, I did
Oh,
actually several times in Barcelona. Um, I can't even think. Oh, if you name a country, it'll come to me. But, I don't actually sit around just looking at my CV and going, oh, wow, look what I've done. So I really don't know. I do it, then I move on. But after coming back from Turkey, I did teach at the City University in New York, um, a branch of it which is named after Medgar Evers in Brooklyn. I taught there for 2 years. I taught ethnomusicology for 2 years there, which was lecture classes. But I taught at Lehigh University in Bethlehem. I taught at Vassar in New York. And all of these places I also performed at as well. But what do I do here? I teach voice. I teach from beginning freshmen through graduate students. So my studio this semester has all of these students. Oh yeah, this is a photo when I was singing in Africa, actually.
This one?
No, the one right before that.
Oh, I wondered about, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That was, St. Augustine Episcopal Church of Galveston. Oh my God! I totally forgot about that concert. Yes, that's right. I did that right after I had come back from Africa. Oh my God. How did you find that?
Well,
it- it-
I love to research, so.
That is amazing. Wow. Yeah, I lived in Houston for 5 years. So while I was there, I sang in Mexico. Actually, I had a great time singing in Mexico. I sang in Mexico several times with Enrique, I can't remember his last name, this great conductor.
well, most
I
of
did some
your
wonderful
gigs
concerts.
classical, or did you've got a good history in gospel music, but what you're talking about right now is mostly operatic, is it not?
Yeah, but see, here's the thing. Gospel music has never ever been my thing. I don't sing gospel music. I sing
Oh,
spirituals, which is different. Spirituals is a genre of classical music. So classical music has always been my thing. Now, I will venture out into jazz if I'm provoked and put a martini in my hand. I'll sing some jazz. But it's
I have
really
now learned the difference between spirituals and gospels. Thank you for the education.
yeah, gospel music actually is a part of pop music.
Yeah,
And if
yeah.
you will notice, people who sing pop music, they don't necessarily have to have any formal training. They just sing it, they're just sort of born with it. But in order to sing spirituals well, you generally have to have some training. But the goal is to make spirituals and gospel come from a sincere place and to reach the masses. That's the goal. And so, my recording, I have a recording of spirituals you flashed on it. I'm sure you found it. Anyway, but that recording is of all Negro spirituals, which is what they were called. Yeah, there it is. They were called Negro spirituals. Oh my God! What? How did you find? No You have truly done your
the,
research.
one of the people that has been chiding me over the years when I've done the research. I was a history teacher and I just love history. And I like you know, really love so many of the people in this East Pasco area, but that was Ted Williams. Yeah, and it's interesting. I haven't spoken with him in a couple of years. I was actually thinking, I didn't think he could do Zoom, or I'd love to have had him on the thing, but on the talk, but he consistently said to me, you need to interview Jeanette Williams, or you need to interview Jeanette Thompson. We need to really lift her up because, you know, along with the Bellamy brothers, Mudcat, you know, she is a star of this area, and we need to kind of revisit that. And I'm hoping that we can get an article in the Laker.
Would you like to headline at the Pasco County Fair next year?
I think we need her at the orchestra, Richard.
The Pasco County Fair. I can't see how that would work, Richard. What did you have to?
I was smiling when I said that.
Okay, good. See, we can't see your face, so I don't know if you're serious. Yeah. You can't imagine the suggestions I've had over the years, so you know.
Well, she started out with Bellamy Brothers, so that's why I went there.
Oh, okay. Now I get it. Yes.
You know, but honestly, you really, and I think I came to Pasco County in 1974, and I taught at Zephyrhills High School. I did teach 3 years at Pasco High School in the 80s, but this was right after
I left
the integration, and when you were describing it, I mean, I don't think people would realize I came from a little town in Indiana, and I remember teachers calling me over to the side and saying, you know, giving me very weird advice about what to do and not to do. And I was like, I'm just going to be open-minded. I mean, I just, but I've seen the community grow, and sometimes digress, but
I know, but it's amazing how it has grown, isn't it, though?
Yes, it is. It is. And I think that, I think there are a lot of, you know, young children that would just get a lot from your story, Jeanette. I really do. And I think there are some things, I really love the FBLA story because, you know, when I was teaching, and my daughters were involved in that some, and I thought it was such an extraordinary group because children need this exposure. They need to be taught. And you know, I'm an advocate of women certainly too, but they just need those role models of how to do public speaking and how, you know, not to get over your fears. You know, I think you are just an incredible example.
See, I don't actually think that you get over your fear. I think you live with it and you use your fear to continue to go, because you're going to be afraid of things. But the trick is not to give in to the fear. Like if you decide that the fear is too much, it can become crippling. But if you decide that, you know, every country has a way of saying good luck. We unfortunately say break a leg, which I think is just stupid, but okay. Anyway, the Austrians say toy, 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 and you have to whisper it that way. It's really toy, toy, toy. And nobody even knows what it means. But once they say it to you, you can't say thank you. You can't say anything back. It's the craziest thing. The French say merde, which literally means shit. And when they say that to you, that means, you know, okay, good luck. But the Italians have the best one. The Italians say in bocca al lupo, which means the story is face the fear from the mouth of the wolf. And you respond by saying, al crepi, I believe that I can face that fear. And you see, to me, that is the best one of them all, because
it's the
really,
fear from the mouth of the wolf.
Yeah. in bocca lupo. Bocca is mouth and lupo is wolf. In bocca lupo. And then you say al crepi, which is, I love that one the most of all, you know. But anyway, so yeah, I know that there are people, like for me, I just can remember watching TV. I remember the Danny Kaye Children's Hour where he would bring all these conductors and musicians on there. And I had no example, do you understand? I had no example from which to draw.
That's what's so extraordinary, really, that you.
But I knew I wanted
and how
that.
then you saw these role models on TV and radio or whatever, and then there wasn't a chorus program at Pasco High, was there?
No, and none of these examples were ever Black, by the way. They were never Black.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I wanted this music, and I remember to raise money. Okay, so when after this singing in the auditorium, and I got the whole school together, the music teacher, who was Carol Sundberg, oh my God, you understand, I can't remember the name of, a person I met yesterday, but these names are just popping out today.
This is providential.
I know. Anyway, Carol Sundberg was my music teacher, and she came out and watched that auditorium get transformed. And she came to me and said, come into my music class. And so I did. And she initiated having me go off to Florida State to study music at 13 in the summer.
Okay, I wondered. I knew there had to be something there. Okay,
yeah,
interesting.
Yeah.
And so, is that when you began to learn the mechanics of it, or?
Yeah. And that's when I really knew that was what I wanted. And so, but I think the school cost $295 or something for 6 weeks. But you understand, back then, you may as well have asked my parents for $295 million because they didn't have it.
That was a lot of money back in the 60s.
It was a lot of money. We're talking about 1971. So yeah, that was a great deal of money. And I remember I went and I would do these little concerts at the First Baptist Church in Dade City, at the Kiwanis Club, at the Rotary Club. There's a third club. I can't remember it. Kiwanis.
The Kiwanis, the Elks, maybe?
No, it wasn't the Elks.
Or Moose or something.
But there was 3 clubs. But I remember the Kiwanis and the Rotary. And so anyway, and at one of these concerts, I would sing these concerts to raise money to go off and do the summer thing. Now, I didn't initiate this. The home economics teacher at the junior high with Carol Sundberg, I can't remember her name, but they got together and said, how can we send this girl off? She is way too talented to just be here. And they came up with a plan. And the plan was we'd have to raise the money. And so I would go and sing at luncheons, the flower club, the women's club. I sang at all these places to raise money to go. And so anyway, and at one of these places, Larry Sledge, Dr. Larry Sledge, was a teacher at St. Leo College. And he heard me at 13. And he came to me and he said, would you like to have real voice lessons? And I said, yes. And he said, could you get to St. Leo? And I said, yes. He said, because I would like to teach you. And I said, yeah, but I couldn't pay you. We don't have money for such things. He said, I didn't ask you for any money. Just get here. And this man taught me for 3 years and never got a nickel. Larry Sledge, Dr. Larry Sledge. He was amazing. So see, to me, there is no wonder. And I think that's why I am the kind of teacher that I am, because these are people who went out of their way to help me when they didn't have to. and they never expected anything in return, you know, and so I tried to be that kind of teacher where
this is a really heartening story of Dade City, Jeanette,
yeah,
that you tell. I mean, all of these people.
yeah,
And
it's really true.
I'm
Madonna, you
sorry.
told me that you were looking for 3 paragraphs to go along with a photo on Jeanette. So we've already got three paragraphs, I think.
Okay, yeah, I'm sorry. I find it really fascinating
Oh, I
to
do
talk.
too. Whoa.
Yeah.
I mean, but I don't mind it. Do you know when so once I learned my first real classical piece, my first real class, and I remember when I went around doing these little concerts, I sang songs like I Believe and He and well, all of these very popular kind of songs, but it was never gospel, not gospel, but it was always this kind of contemporary gospel, as it were. But anyway, but when I learned my first piece, it was Ich liebe dich by Grieg. And I was so excited because it was in German, and I came home and I couldn't wait to sing this piece for my family. And I gathered everybody together and I sang this Ich liebe dich, and they laughed until they cried. And I was so disheartened. Now, at 13, you would think I would have given it up. I would have packed it away because my sisters were laughing so hard at what I thought was beautiful. But the funny thing is that I just thought, okay, I won't sing for them. I'll find somebody else to sing for. And it didn't make me want to stop at all. Anyway, as I think back to that, you know, being a woman in her 60s, I find that just amazing that where did I get such resilience from, really? Where?
Right. It almost seems like the setbacks boosted you ahead.
Correct.
They were.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I would want to just go on. I didn't want to ever give up. And but yeah, there was all of these pivotal moments, you know, of getting cast in an opera in Germany or winning the Queen Elizabeth competition in Belgium, which was a huge deal, huge deal. And I knew that unless you were in the opera world, one wouldn't understand how big that was. But it was pivotal for me, you know, when it happened. And but anyway, and I'm very happy I have a propensity for languages because, you know, once I get immersed in the language, it comes fairly easy for me. And
I think
it may,
music, I've always thought music and foreign language are aptitudes people have.
yeah, they are aptitudes, absolutely, yeah. And I really discover that the more I teach as well, you know.
Now, the students that you teach, they must seek you out. They're at the, I would
Yeah,
think,
well,
very
some of
skilled
them
when
do. Yeah, some of them do. Some of them just audition for the Frost School of Music and then they get placed with me. But yeah, a lot of them do actually ask for me. Because most kids today, they go and do their own research. I hate this photo, by the way.
I do. Let me
I
go back to
just
it.
hate that photo.
I think it's kind of cute.
There's got to be another one.
Okay.
That's cute, Mark Fault. How did you get that one, the one with my singing in New York with the black dress on up top there? Where did you get that?
I think I just Googled. I don't know.
Oh my God.
I was just thinking that it would be good, you know, it's kind of a reference point to have some photos.
I love it.
And I can't wait to share this with Mary, Giella, and a couple of folks. It would just be, I know they would want me to say hi for them. But Jeanette,
she is
thank
such a
you
dear.
so much. Thank you for your, you know, candor and your, you know, the contributions that Dade City gave to you. And,
Anytime.
you know, I think We now
Thank
have
you for the
a,
education and the knowledge and the entertainment. I've been sitting here awestruck for an hour.
me too, Richard.
Technology.
When you told that story of going up to the stage and playing, I mean,
Oh,
that's like, that would be like a movie theme, Jeanette.
Yeah,
And I bet you did that other times in your life as well, right? I mean,
I
or
have.
something similar.
No, I have though. It's funny, okay, my Achilles heel is a bug. I am afraid of any bug that crawls. But you put me in any other situation, and I have always been like the steel, the unbendable steel. Like I see a situation, if it's out of hand, then I am the stabling force that tries to figure out how to fix it. That's always been me, even when I was a child. I'll tell you one more story. So when I was 12, right? No, I was 11, had just turned 12. And this was when Moore Mickens was just Moore Mickens, right? And it started at first grade and went through the 12th grade.
And it was Mickens High School. Yeah.
It was Mickens High School and Moore Elementary. Okay, so I was in the 8th grade, and the music teacher at the end of the year, now I don't know if it's still this way, but at Mickens, at the end of the year, you have the coronation. You have the coronation of the queen, which means someone has to play the piano and you have to play for all the people performing. You have the end of the year band program, the end of the year choir program. You've got commencement, you've got baccalaureate, you've got all of these things. Okay, and you've got a choir. So the teacher, the music teacher at that time got really ill. And it was 3 weeks before the end of school, and she couldn't continue. And Mr. Mickens looked for a substitute, but all he could find was a substitute teacher to come and just be with the classes. But he couldn't find a substitute teacher who was also a musician. And he looked and he looked and he couldn't find anyone. So he came to me. I was in the 8th grade. And he said, I have a tall order for you, but I believe you can do it. I need you to teach these music classes at the high school for the rest of this
Oh
term.
my goodness.
And I don't believe I even blinked. I had to conduct the choir. I had to teach music appreciation. And I just got the books because I knew how to conduct because I was a natural leader like that. And I did. And my older sisters was in the choir that I had to conduct, and they were the worst ever because they couldn't stand that I was doing it. They were the worst ever. And they hated the fact that I went to their prom, but I had to go to their prom because I had to play the piano. And they hated it. They hated it. And the coronation, they hated that I was there, but I had to. I was in the 8th grade and I taught school for 22 days. And at the end of the term, he brought me a check and he said, you have earned this money, and I insisted that they pay you like they would have paid any other substitute teacher.
Had,
wow.
for this book, Richard did a favor for me because several people said we need some of these folks in this book, and I'm trying to think of Mr. Mickens' wife's name. She's in the book.
Wait, Christine.
Christine. But Richard went out. We were trying to find some pictures. Mary G. Ellis said, it might have been Imani, but they said you need to get the principal that was at the colored school in Lakuchi. And Richard went out. They couldn't find the photo of her. There was well, you tell the story, Richard. But it was a cool story.
No, I don't really have that much more. It's just the two schools, they had they had all of the pictures collected and put in the back of a storeroom in the new elementary school, Wakuchi Elementary School now. And I went out there and took pictures of the present principal, the director of the Boys and Girls Club, holding the picture of
Cassie
this,
Coleman. Do you know
this
Cassie?
previous principal.
And they took the
Wow.
picture, but we tried to capture some of the key leaders that made such a difference, because that was just, they didn't have materials. They were
Right.
operating, they just, they were maybe getting hand down textbooks. They didn't have budgets. It was just incredible. But I'll tell you, I have always heard such wonderful things about Christine and okay,
And
Mickens.
Odell, yeah.
Yeah.
And Odell Mickens has a building named after him at Bethune-Cookman College. Did you know that?
Oh, really? I didn't know that. No.
Yeah, here's a building. It's the Mickens Gymnasium or something like that, but here's a building named after him. But no, when we first were forced to integrate, and I remember all my little friends, everybody hated the fact that we were doing it. And I remember the first thing that I noticed was that the books were new. They weren't hand me down. And I remember I was with some of my little friends. We were in the ninth grade, and they were all complaining, and I said, "No, this is a good thing." And they said, "How? What do you mean we're losing a sense of ourselves? They've taken away our history." And I said, "No, no one can take away your history. Your history is your history. But look at this. We have new books and we have access to the world now, whereas we were limited there." And I remember having this conversation that nobody wanted to hear, first of all, but I was having this conversation. And I remember just feeling so happy that they forced us to go there, because had they not, I would not have gone on to, at 13, to study in the summer at Florida State. I would not have known to open up my mind to embracing the world and to wanting to love opera the way that I did. Had they not done that, this is why diversity doesn't just make a school better. A school cannot be great unless there is diversity, because with it, that's how you have access to everything that is different from you. And I remember that. Very well. Boy, that was a long time ago, though, wasn't it?
Dade City has
And
made
profound, very profound.
Yeah, it is very profound.
Well,
Well, it's just been a pleasure talking to you, Jeanette. And
listen,
I assume you still have family in Dade City, right?
well, most of my family's in Tampa. They all sort of migrated to Tampa. Yeah,
Sure.
yeah. Because I have a big family.
Where did you
11
live?
children.
Where did you
11
live
children.
here in the Dade City area? What
We
street?
lived at 807 North 5th Street, which had been renamed the last time I drove through there. It's no longer called 5th Street. It's called something else.
Is it because it went across? You were on the other side of the tracks.
Right.
All right, they changed all of those things, so I don't know what it would be now.
Yeah, I used to know, but now I don't remember. But I remember Mr. Larkin used to live diagonally from where we lived on that side of the tracks, and we lived on the other side, but within walking distance from him.
Close to the cemetery?
Say again?
Close to the cemetery?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
Yes, because we used to walk to school to the old Mickens through the cemetery to get to Mickens. We would walk through the cemetery, yeah. Yeah, and Mr. Larkin used to live in that thing. My mother used to work for them, and we'd go up there. But yeah, that's a long time.
If you're ever in the area, please let us know, because I think the Dade City Council would want to. They do have a historical preservation board, and I think they would really want to honor you. I mean, if you ever happen to be in the area, let us know.
Well,
I think between Richard and I, we can. We have a wonderful lady mayor who is Hispanic background, and she seems to be very interested in diversity. And I think, but
That's great.
I don't know if you've ever been honored by the county commission or the city, but I think we should do that.
No.
Just let us know when you're going to be around. So,
well, they did give me the keys and name. I got a proclamation of Jeanette Thompson Week when I opened that new art center. That was that was nice. But listen, if you need any other information or you want to schedule any other interview, just let me know. I don't mind. Yeah, I'm happy to help.
You have really opened up, your heart to us. Thank you so much. And I would love to hear you sing sometime. So
I think we ought to try to get her as a soloist during the symphony sometime in April next year.
Oh, that's a good idea.
I think that would be a wonderful time to really, Richard, that would be a wonderful, I don't mean to be planning this when I have no musical, but wouldn't that be wonderful? And then we can have the mayor present her. I mean, I think it's a great idea, Richard. You're the one that
big thing is
that.
It's a small town girl makes big. Yay.
Well, I don't know. But I can tell you this, it is a small town girl very grateful for the background that prepared me for the world. That I will own. Making big, not so much.
The key people and actually even some of the key obstacles that they set in your way. But
there were plenty of obstacles. Do you know, I'll tell you one little story that is not so nice, but actually when I look at it, it is kind of nice. I remember there was a guy at my school named Terry McMillan. I don't even know if he's still around or what, but and he used to live on River Road, and down River Road was really all the redneck people and everything. One night, it still is.
I was going to say that too.
Well, I remember one night I was walking from somewhere, maybe my grandmother's house or somewhere, and I was walking at this. I stopped at one of the service stations down Main Street on my walk home to get something, and there was a group of white boys that were there, and they came to me very aggressively, and you could tell they were about to beat me up. And one of the guys who was a part of this group, and they were just going to beat me up because I was black. There was no other reason. And one of the guys who was in there, he said, "No, man, don't bother with her." And the other one said, "Why?" And he said, "Because this girl can really sing. Don't mess with her." Now, see, it's a bad story in that it's a story about racism, but it's a good story in that even in the throes of racism, people still can recognize talent. And he saved me that night. Those guys didn't touch me. They went on about their way. So, there is the good in all of it, and there's bad too. And I don't shy away from the bad, as you can tell.
And the music is such a universal thing. I mean, just listening to music can calm you. It can just profoundly affect you. And he knew that. Who knows? But,
it's unifying.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Jeanette.
Anyway,
it's such a pleasure to meet you.
It was really my pleasure, and nice to meet you, Richard. I'm glad I got to see your face for about 2 minutes.
I haven't gotten any better looking in the past hour, but I have been very well entertained and learned a lot. Thank you. I hope I do get to meet you sometime.
Okay. All right. I'll say goodbye then.
Bye.
Okay.
Thanks so much.
Bye-bye.